So they'll be calling you a radical. So it's Super Bowl Sunday. You know, we'll talk about Rashid from here at Weber State. We'll talk about, but I want to talk about the well, the big adult fin that washed up in Oregon. That's a gigantic, incredible mammal. I mean, massive. So the Illuminati Bowl? Oh boy, no. Think about this. No, they've changed it from the Illuminati Bowl to the, what we got here? To the Epstein Bowl. Now, stay with me. There's nobody more in this Middle East of Eden cult clan sickening than Bob Kraft. Nobody. You know about when all went down at Columbia and the evil that Columbia, that's Bob Kraft. That's all him doing that. You know about how bad Bob Kraft was cheating on the Super Bowls. You go back to Spygate. Remember Spygate? Even John Madden said the Patriots Super Bowl should be taken away from them. Spygate. How about Tuck Rule Gate? So we know he's all over the Epstein list, but we all knew that he's that creepy connected. There's nothing more creepy connected to this whole Middle East of Eden nightmare that we've got going on than Bob Kraft. Now, there's lots of rumors that MIT, the head of the snake, there's lots of rumors that they were using signals. You know, the quarterback, when he talks to upstairs, they were stealing them, and vice versa. You know, it's not just the quarterback that hears it in his ear. They do it on defense also. So, but let's go to the Seahawks. Now think about the Seahawks. Who was that? Paul Allen. Now Paul Allen's dead of the same disease I have. Paul Allen died of leukemia. I thought the elites never died of it. Oh, yes they do. They're not elites, by the way. They're parasitic scum. So, he's dead, right? You don't think he's an Epsteiner? Oh, big time. You know who he was really close friends with, Paul Allen? You know who he was really close friends with? This ties in. Ghislaine Maxwell. You know, the whole Ghislaine Maxwell, you know, everybody, of course, knows her father. But people forget that when her father rolled into New York and started buying up all the tabloids. You know, when fake news, the only fake news was the National Enquirer. Remember, he started buying up all the tabloids? And then he started buying mainstream media, which he's a foreigner. And foreigners can't do that. We had laws against it. Operation Foxconn News. Who was that? Nobody in this country. Murdoch on Balco. Roger Ailes on chemo. The greatest terrorist organization in history. So Paul Allen's dead. His wife owns it. Now, I don't know a lot about her. I really don't. Now, we love sport. I mean, I love football. Really love football. But what we've evolved to in this country. So, remember, Paul Allen had a Save the Oceans Foundation. So did Ghislaine Maxwell. At the same time, Kevin Blanch is doing all his historic work. The real marine biologists. They got their billions and their connections. And, you know, we go back to MIT. And I haven't talked about this because Joey, who changed his name to Joey, who took over the MIT Media Lab in 2011. Oh, God, they're off leashes, too. There's 4 of them. Here come the poor freaking animals. So, you do know MIT Media. You know he was all over. And remember he was going to do his freelance Geiger counter stuff? I knew he was a fraud. You know, he came to me. He reached out to me, you know, when I had the field. Because the real freelance radiation levels were done by Kevin Blanch and crew. And, of course, Bob Nichols, the old Marine. So, MIT Media Lab, MIT, the Patriots, Bob Kraft, Columbia University, Bob Kraft, Epstein. So think about that. You know, Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell had Save the Ocean foundations. You do know that. Unbelievable, right? So they were going to save the ocean. Now, I want you to think about that. Look it up. You don't believe me? I remember going crazy about this clear back in the Fukushima era in 2012, 2011, 2013, 2014, 15, you know, which is still the Fukushima era. I'm going crazy about it. I knew what Ghislaine Maxwell was. I knew what Epstein was. I knew they were connected to MIT. Now it's come out the MIT Media Lab was funded by Jeffrey Epstein. I can't believe none of you journalists are taking on the Aaron Swartz connection. The Aaron Swartz connection is all about Fukushima. I knew Aaron Swartz personally. I was in the courtroom that day. I came out of the bone marrow transplant the day that he supposedly committed suicide. I really do not believe he committed suicide. I never have, but 35, well, even if they didn't, 35 years for a peaceful protest, for downloading the server at MIT Media Lab. Now think about that. He hands it to Glenn Greenwald, Snowjob, and Laura, the endowment's daughter, the billionaires, MIT Media Lab. Nothing more Epstein, the Middle East of Eden cult than MIT. Now, I've always said, the Saudi passport, the Saudis, I was teaching here at Weber State. They arrested 5 kids. I taught the derivative arbitrage class in the #1 school of business in the country. I taught that class. That's my puts and calls. I'm probably the first guy in the world that identified they bought puts on the airline stocks way out of the money, so tight that, they paid a penny a piece for this. I'm serious, 1 cent a piece for those. You know how much they sold those for? Many hundreds of dollars. Can you do math? And like, we got him. Here we go. Let him chase the fucking people are sick. 65 degrees in Snow, Utah. I'm the guy that named the heat dome. By the way, New York City right now today, I talked to some people. Well, I talked to my grandkids, and they says it's wind chill factor 15 below. Well, I predicted that. I said it's going to cause a heat dome. I'm the guy that named it, the Great Western North America Heat Dome. This starvation went. Now let's get back to the wells, and then we'll talk more about the Illuminati bowl. And well, let's stay with this, because you think about the NBA, which we always knew David Stern was so sick. Well, look at the guy they got now. David Stern all over the Epstein list. And read what he said. Oh my God. You don't think they were fixing games? Ask Donahue. Ask the 2002 Sacramento Kings. They fixed that game 6. Everybody knows it. David Stern's all over the list. All over. Oh my God. He died pretty young. So the NBA's so dirty, so corrupt. I really think Ryan Smith. Remember, Gail Miller gets the Legacy Trust through in Utah to keep the Jazz and the Miller family forever, and then immediately sells them to the CIA Jazz. Where do you think that dude made all his money? He just magically bingo, bongo. He's a billionaire. And I really believe their agenda is to destroy it. They want to tear it down. It's cancel culture on Balco, on chemo. Degenerate. They did the same thing at Weber State here. #1 school business in the country, first to worst. So did the well. So Noah, and that's why I'll tag both this. I can get 2 tags in one. I can walk and chew gum. Noah, think about this, Noah. I want you to think about this. Noah denied Kevin Blanch's historic work. The starvation event started in 2011, 2012, just like Kevin Blanch said. I'm full of cancer, doing the work, walking up. I walked on multiple dead wells over this thing, multiple, including a blue. I didn't have a camera. Back those days, it wasn't like now. I had a flip. I had one of those flip cameras. I had those Bloggies. You had to have a hard drive, not very good batteries. So the vast majority of my working, I had no camera. And so hard to upload. You had to plug into a hard drive. So, my list of library cards that thick. But I was right the whole time. And so Noah finally came out in 2019. And it declared an unusual mortality event that started in 2015. I'm like, those lying motherfuckers. And they declared it over, by the way. And like I said, it ain't over till the premier marine biologist fucking tells you. Now 75 biologists come out last year and says, yeah, Kevin Blanch was right. This great starvation event on the humpbacks of the blue, all the wells in the Pacific, started in 2012. And it was starvation. Now that fin well that washed up in San Diego, I'm there. I'm watching it. I thought it was a juvenile humpback. Well, I'm watching it. I'm like, I'm telling you, it's gonna wash up, starve to death. So all the homeless that are up and down, I know a lot of them. One of them, is an artist, and I says, any one of you guys that see him starting to wash up on the shore, call me. Here's my phone number. I'll give you $50, $40, 20. I'll give you some money. Sure shit, one of them called me. He's flopping around early in the morning. He's going to wash up right here. I jumped up out of the room, hurried, freaking, my iPad was about dead. They got over there, and I says, here, I owe you some money. He says, no, you don't owe me anything. I says, no. He said, I mean, great dude, homeless, great dude, one of the good ones. I said, no, 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 no. And he says, well, I'll take 20 bucks. I says, here's 40. And, you know, I went over there, and it was a juvenile Finn. Finns are, I mean, they're beasts, man. But this, I mean, it's still happening. The Great Pacific Genocide. Last year, the Laguna, he called me from down there. One of the workers that worked there, one of the people that run it, you know, and told me all the mothers and calves are dying. What do you mean all of them? All of them! My God. And then, you know, unusual. And I mean, it's so pathetic, our government, what we've evolved into. It's so sad. This Great Pacific Genocide, my God. So go Rashid today. I don't gamble, but if any of you do, I'll tell you what I would bet. I would bet Rashid to score more than one touchdown. It's 35-1. Put 100 bucks on it. If you get 35, send me a fucking tip. You know, whatever. Rashid to score one touchdown is 3.5-1. But there's never been a punt return run back in the NFL, ever, in the Super Bowl. I think it could happen today. I think it could happen, but I think the Seahawks will just, it should be 38-10 is what I've got it at. But, you know how that goes. PI, let's keep it close for our sponsors to keep people engaged. You don't want people turning that game off in the third quarter. They got to keep them engaged. The Illuminati Bowl, the Epstein Bowl. That's what my tag did. The well event, one ties into the other because remember, Paul Allen had to save the freaking Oceans Foundation. Remember his giant yacht? He just accidentally on purpose left the anchor down and it tore out the barrier reef off the coast in the Caribbean. Remember that? Accidentally on purpose. He died at this camp that I have. He died of leukemia. So, anyway, Bob Kraft, they don't get more evil. You know, David Stern. The NBA is so fixed and rigged and disgusting. I mean, if you don't believe that, you haven't read the Epstein files and David Stern. Ask the 2002 Sacramento Kings. They never recovered from that. David Stern, under oath, in the grand jury. Did you fix that game? Well, I cannot deny that we have an incentive for teams like Lakers to win. That's not what we asked you to. Well, I cannot deny. Come on. What don't they have? They have academia. I mean. So, but we still love sport. I do. You know. Oh, yeah, that's me. The Cinderella. We should get more than two touchdowns or more than one, which I think he could. He's 35, he's 64-1 to be the MVP. So, you know, I know there's some of you online gamblers out there watching, but whatever, I don't gamble. I got too many other fish to unfry. I quit gambling when I got cancer in 2011. I miss it. Super Bowl, so fun. Prop betting is so fun. You get it right. But I've got a 38-10 Seahawks. But why can't you bet? You know, because you can bet special point spreads. All those great prop bets are so fun. But because they cheat. And if you don't think they do, you're crazy. Tuckgate. Wasn't that Bob Kraft? Yeah. Spygate. Wasn't that Bob Kraft? Inflategate. Wasn't that Bob Kraft? Yeah. All over the Epstein list. Well, we knew that. We knew that a long time ago what he is. I mean, he's as evil, as creepy as they get. You know, you see what? I used to listen to LT, Lawrence Taylor, and Dickerson's podcast, and whoa, they go off on the NFL. You see, Dickerson made a statement again, called it the most corrupt group of people. They'll do anything for money. Well, we know that's true. But go Rashid. We're rooting for you here at Weber State. Everybody's excited. So, the Great Pacific Genocide. The greatest PhD in here. It's so heartbreaking and sad to see these wells just so inebriated. By the way, Dunford's done some great work, but apparently he's hurt himself. So I hope he's okay up there in Canada. So The Illuminati, no, the Epstein Bowl. Save the ocean, Paul Allen. Ghislaine Maxwell had to save the ocean. For real, during Fukushima. I wonder why. Good Lord. Opportunity cost on Balco. False flags on chemo. Fukushima. Because guess what? All of you elites, they're not elites, they're parasitic scum. Guess what? It's the ecology, stupid. And guess what? Billionaires get leukemia and die too. I mean, supremacy on Balco, it's disgusting. But anyway, we'll see. I don't even care about the halftime shows. I don't watch the halftime shows. Never really did. The only one I'd never watch the halftime. I don't like them. You know, so I don't give a shit. I like football. So, and by the way, basketball. And you know what? Sport has been around since the time of man. You know, it's heartbreaking as well as stay in tuned.